Captain Midnight.
This video is brought to you by Wix. So Black Panther may be the first ever Marvel movie nominated for Best Picture, but for my money, it's the beautifully animated Spider-Man Into the SpiderVerse that gave us the best superhero film experience of 2018. I rewatch movies a lot for this channel. I've seen Infinity War like 5 times, Black Panther 3 times, Spider-Man Homecoming. Honestly, I've lost track at this point, but none of them have held up on multiple rewatches quite as well as this little animated movie. It may not be the biggest hit of the bunch, not by a long shot actually, but if I had to point to one movie that sums up everything I love about superhero stories, Spider-Verse might just make the final cut. It's really that good. And with the decent, if not incredible, box office pull, sequel plans are already being discussed. So I figured it'd be a good time to talk about what I'd like to see from a potential Spider-Verse sequel. Now, I'll admit, some, if not most of these, are long shots, but I think they're fun long shots. So with that in mind, here's a few ideas for where I'd like to see this great new version of Spider-Man's universe go. Option 1. The BTeam. Less a true sequel and more of a spin-off, I would really like to see another movie starring Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham, and Penny Parker, preferably as a trio. I've seen a lot of people saying they'd like to see a Spider-Man Noir solo movie, and while I think the original, more grounded source material could lend itself to that, I really think Nick Cage's more comedic version probably works better as just one ingredient in a big cast, not being asked to carry the whole movie by himself. And I kind of feel the same about the other two. So what I'd really like to see is the three of them teaming up in an adventure that hops from reality to reality. There's an episode of Rick and Morty that sees the characters jumping around multiple dimensions, coming across all sorts of weird iterations of their own reality. Now, obviously they weren't the first to do that, and that show is a lot darker than a Spider-Verse movie would ever be, but I do think that template could be amazing for a great looking and hilarious movie starring those three, in a plot that could involve them jumping from Spider-Man universe to Spider-Man universe, just trying to get to their home realities. I think it would be a recipe for a lot of fun, but the real challenge would be trying to find what the emotional core to the story is. Still, I'd watch this weird group of spider people do like anything, so I think it's worth a try.
Spider-Man! I thought you were dead!
Dead?
Option 2. Spider-Verse 2099. Now, of course I had to bring this up. After all, Spider-Verse ends with Miguel O'Hara, voiced by none other than Oscar Isaac, jumping into a meme. It's a funny scene, but I really hope it leads to more. O'Hara is one of my favorite iterations of Spider-Man. I've really always preferred him to like Ben Reilly. And for years it felt like he was never getting the moment in the spotlight that he deserved. Honestly, I would be totally fine with an animated Spider-Man 2099 movie that has no connection to the Spider-Verse at all. But since the post-credits scene makes it pretty clear that he knows about all these alternate dimensions, it makes sense that they'd need to use that. Still, I'd like to see most of the film set in 2099. It would be really easy to have all these dimensional anomalies be the result of Alchemex's experiments, who are maybe trying to salvage the work done by Kingpin and Doc Ock nearly a century earlier. Really though, I just think the 2099 setting would blend so perfectly with the look of Spider-Verse. I mean, it's already an amazing looking movie, and if you throw in some Blade Runner-esque visuals into the equation, I really think it could be unbelievable. Now, the plot could involve pulling Miles into 2099, but honestly, I'm not so sure about that, since I think Morales needs some time to be the traditional Spider-Man in his reality, which he hasn't really had time to do at all. It would also feel a little too repetitive to have the Peter of Spider-Verse being taken in by yet another younger hero. But one pairing that I do think would be really fun is actually found in that post-credits scene. Miguel O'Hara and the square-jawed, dorky Peter Parker of Earth 67. Okay, I admit this idea is kind of out there, but the more I thought about it, the more I really liked it. O'Hara and his slick futuristic world colliding with the old-fashioned Spidey 67 could make for a really funny buddy team-up movie, with everything from how they talk to how they swing webs being totally different. I think this combination of Spider-Man at its most cutting edge and Spider-Man at its most old school could work really, really well.
Up there!
Option 3. The Miles story. This one is easily the most basic of the group, but I don't think it should be begrudged for that. SpiderVerse served as a great introduction into what I think is the single best version of Miles. The film improved on Bendis' origin and turned the character into someone I really want to see again. And with Miles' current comic with a new writer being better than ever too, I'd love to see the SpiderVerse team put their own spin on it and create a more traditional Spider-Man story. Now if that isn't quite high concept enough, it might help to work Gwen Stacy's Spider-Woman back into things somehow. Although there are already reports that she's getting a movie of her own, along with a few other female Spider people. Overall, I don't have that much to add here, other than that I'd be perfectly fine with just seeing a continuation of Miles' story, since they did such a great job of setting it up in the first place. Option 4. The weirder Miles story. Okay, I almost didn't include this one because a lot of you will hate it, and as someone who actually enjoyed Venom and knows that it made a lot of money at the box office, I don't think it would be beyond the realm of possibilities that they try to combine the two in animated form. I mean, really, with the wacky tone of Venom and Spider-Verse's premise, you could pretty easily do a Who Framed Roger Rabbit-like combination of both live action and animation. As weird as that would be, a part of me would kind of love to see it. And even if they don't want to go that far, I'd love to see Tom Hardy's Venom in animated form being written by the Spider-Verse writers. Some kind of team up between those two I think has a lot of potential to be just as weird and unexpected as Spider-Verse itself was when it was first announced.
1, 2, 3.
Bonus option, Peter Parker on TV. Okay, this one would take a lot of corporate wrangling since Sony doesn't own the TV rights to Spider-Man. But I would love to see a laid-back, more adult animated series on Hulu or Adult Swim starring Jake Johnson's Peter Parker. His take on the character was probably my favorite thing about Spider-Verse, and so much of that was in Johnson's delivery. He's already proved that he's really great on TV, so why not give us the weekly adventures of this chronically underachieving Spider-Man? Especially if it could be seen on something like Adult Swim and be a lot more adult in its humor. This would almost definitely, never happen, because I mean, even the adult Deadpool series didn't make it to the air, and I'm pretty sure Disney would be scared of the show hurting its kid-friendly Spider-Man brand. But you know what? In my perfect world, we're all watching 5 great seasons of Jake Johnson's Spider-Man. Oh, and hey, speaking of great cartoons, I was a little late, but I finally posted my first Young Justice review at capmidnight.com. You can find a link to that in the description, but if you don't know, basically I'm gonna post a review every week as I watch the show unfold. Setting up that site was really easy thanks to Wix, which I used to create it. There's so many things you can build with this service. It doesn't matter if you're booking clients for work, need a landing page, want to set up a storefront, or you just want to create a blog quickly and easily like mine. Wix definitely has you covered, and they handle all the annoying stuff by giving you a reliable hosting site that keeps your work totally secure. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner like I was or a skilled designer, so if you want to make a great site today, head over to wix.com/go/CaptainMidnight, which I've included a link to in the video description and pinned comment below.
Here's a special tip for the fellas and girls who have not already joined Captain Midnight's new 1940 Flight Patrol. You'd better hurry up and join at once, because there's a big adventure ahead. The thing to do now is to get started, because we're going to have not only barrels of fun, but loads of free